What was the scandal at your high school? The girl who said her boyfriend knocked her up and got the whole school, kinda small town, to support her for being a teen mom, only for my yearbook staff and I to expose her pregnancy as fake after she gave birth to her, quote, baby girl. We were skeptical because she was rail thin most of the pregnancy until she had to leave school and go on bed rest, and her ex-boyfriend swore he didn't do anything with her. So one day we reverse Google image searched her baby picture, and it belonged to a premature baby boy from 3 years ago that some mom posted on her blog. This girl even went as far as to somehow stage pictures in a hospital, or a place that looked like a hospital, holding a fake pink bundle of nothing. Once word spread that her pregnancy was fake, she freaked out and created fake Facebook profiles of her parents and started using those accounts to harass everyone that was coming after her. She eventually pulled out of school and disappeared forever. For the next 2 years, everyone kept speculating where she went. If I remember correctly, people searched around for her online because she was a model in high school and found she moved to the next state over. But by then, everyone didn't care. This isn't the first fake pregnancy I've heard of, and I don't get how they ever think they'll get away with it. Like, having a child is pretty hard to hide, or like, say you have and then don't actually have. I don't know how to word this. Basically, what I'm saying is it's a plan doomed to fail, so don't do it. Next story. I was a senior and graduation was only a couple of weeks away. One of my good friends had been dating this girl, the cheerleader, for like 6 years straight. They were the, quote, perfect couple. He was a beast athlete, she was a gorgeous cheerleader, they were super cool and everyone liked them. They got voted cutest couple and their picture is still in our yearbook. They both got accepted to the same college and were going to move away together. Already knew they were going to get married, typical high school sweetheart crap, etc. That was until another student walked in on her getting banged by the basketball coach in a laundry room 2 weeks before we all graduated. News spread like wildfire. She was already 18, so it was legal, but the coach resigned immediately. No idea what happened to him. The girl dropped off the face of the earth, it seemed. She didn't come to the last 2 weeks of class, wasn't at graduation, deleted all of her social media accounts, and never returned calls and texts from longtime friends. Even her best friends were disgusted with her, because everyone loved her boyfriend, and we were all extremely close. So they were upset about what she did, and they were even more upset she wouldn't talk to anyone. I found out a few years later that she basically just up and left, moved halfway across the country to live with some different family and go to college. This all happened in 2009, but it looks like she got married and has a couple of kids now. My friend, the guy, got a full ride to a Division I college for baseball and did decently well. Last I heard, he's playing for some minor league team. It was a hell of a scandal to end our high school career. Next story. A 15-year-old girl from my secondary school said a 33-year-old teacher tried to assault her. There was a lot of gossip around the school that she made it up for attention. The teacher lost his job, but he was found innocent, as the jury decided the girl was lying. She lost a lot of friends. School wouldn't have been easy for a while. That was about 7 years ago. The teacher then moved to Spain. A few months ago, he was found guilty of assaulting a 14-year-old in the new school he taught at. My heart sank when I realized the girl from my school had been telling the truth all along. No one had believed her. Next story. There were several scandals that happened when I was in school, but I'll list some of the worst. 2 students got caught banging in between the vending machines. A fight broke out and this kid picked up one of the English teachers, who was a really small guy, around 5'2" or so, and threw him down the stairwell as hard as possible. From what I heard, at least one ankle completely shattered and he had multiple broken ribs among other injuries. And my senior year government teacher banged a student in exchange for not failing her. Next story. A teacher harassed and assaulted a couple of girls by lowering their grades if they didn't send pics or bang him, whatever. So they went to the counselor and told her what was happening. She didn't do anything about it for 2 years, and then the counselor finally said something to the administration and the law was called. A couple hours later, after school was finished for the year, he was arrested, and the counselor was fired for not reporting it when it first happened. After he was arrested, a couple of other girls said that he did it to them too. The thing was, he was engaged and supposed to get married a couple of weeks after he got arrested. That fiancé dodged a huge bullet. That's not someone you want to be around or even know, let alone get married to. Disgusting, disgusting dude. Next story. A guy from my high school couldn't find a prom date and got rejected multiple times. So he sent out a mass email to over 100 adult content stars and asked them to prom. 2 of them said yes. The school district had to have a meeting and eventually a court case on whether or not it was alright to have an adult content star at a high school prom. They eventually told the guy no, and he responded by throwing his own prom. What's funny is that an adult site actually sponsored the event and paid for the adult star to fly to the area where he lived. Next story. 2 guys on the baseball team filmed intimate activity with their girlfriends, hosted it on the school central media server, and streamed it to a classroom for the team to watch. That, or the chemistry teacher who is now in federal prison on CP charges for leaving a camera in the hockey team locker room after performing chaplain duties for them. Next story. Senior year 2007, a student lured a man into his garage, stabbed him repeatedly, slit his throat, cut off his head, burned the fingers with a torch, dumped the head in a river, dumped the body in a field, and set it on fire. Obviously, he's serving a life sentence. Next story. Black kid was on the basketball team and wanted to transfer to another school. This was his second school and would have to sit out a year before he could play. So he tried to get out of it with a hardship exemption. Basically, that means he had to prove it was unsafe to be at our school. Since my high school was mostly white, he tried to play the race card. He graffitied the school and wrote death threats saying black people must die. He listed some people's names on the wall, including his, to make him seem innocent. It made national news and he was found guilty. Next story. There was a kid at our rival high school arrested for banging a horse. It was on the sidebar of the front page of the local paper. The paper didn't publish his name, obviously, but people figured it out pretty quickly. We played each other in football a couple of weeks later. Next story. A girl supposedly got pregnant and was expelled back in 9th grade. Mind you, I went to a private Catholic school, but she complained that it wasn't fair she was the only one getting expelled when she wasn't the only one to make a baby. So she got the supposed baby daddy kicked out too. Am I crazy? Am I too woke for saying this is correct? Not that people should be expelled from any school for that kind of thing. That's a failure on the school and education system's part for the most part. I just mean if you're going to apply the rules to her, then yeah, she wasn't the only one who had a hand in this. Or not a hand, but you know what I mean. Either way, yeah, I'm sure this will really help her in life. Oh, you made a bad, underinformed decision and did something you probably shouldn't have, but you really didn't know better. Out of school for you, because that will help. No more education. You don't deserve it. Next story. The scandal. There was no the scandal with my town. One girl showed up absolutely hammered in the morning with a water bottle of vodka in 8th grade. A group of girls made a pact to take their own lives, and in order to fulfill their pact, jumped off of the girls' 10-foot balcony. They were out for a week for counseling. High school gym teacher was arrested for sending gay adult content to an elementary school kid and inviting him to come over. 2 girls got pregnant freshman year. Our high school had our own version of March Madness in which guys would try to sleep with as many girls as possible in March. Oh, and one day this girl came to school wearing a wife beater with nothing underneath, and you could totally see her nipples underneath. Edit. Just thought of a more harmless scandal. This Russian kid lived right next to the school but across a small creek. One morning he took a bucket, caught an eel from his creek, brought it to school, and chased around a bunch of the girls with it before school started. He was promptly sent home to put the eel back. Next story. Local ice cream shop owned by a couple. Everyone loved them. This place was the cool place to hang out as a teenager. Turns out the male owner was having an affair with my classmate. She was barely 16 and an employee of his. He gave her a private cell phone so only he could talk with her. This went on for months. Her parents found out, his wife found out, the wife yanked the money for the business in the divorce, so the place closed down, and I think he was charged with statutory. The worst part was, a lot of the kids blamed the girl for the ice cream place going out of business. They shamed her pretty badly, but I think she ended up graduating on time still. Next story. Cool kids at a party at one of their parents' lake houses. Police come and arrest everyone who wasn't smart enough to run into the woods. Despite having arrested 20 kids with the drugs and alcohol, only 16 get charged with anything. The 4 who didn't get charged were the only 4 kids on the baseball team that was super deep into the state playoffs that year. What a coincidence! My family, along with many others, were super mad. Eventually, they had a town hall with the mayor and city council, and the 4 kids ended up getting suspended and couldn't play, but they still never got put on probation like everyone else. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't understand the idolization of sports in high school. Why can these kids who do the exact same thing as the other kids just get off with stuff because they play sports? As if that automatically morally saves them? I don't get it at all, man. Apparently football is some sort of savior. Next story. posted this a few days ago. The current scandal is that the teachers put up a "there are cameras in this school" poster and wouldn't tell us why, but we all know it's because someone found a used rubber in one of the practice rooms. So now everybody wants to know who's in the practice rooms, and only the band kids know, but they won't tell the non-band kids because they're all elitist bastards. Next story. A couple of guys got their hands on a bunch of adult toys and decided to start an underground toy ring. There were a few guys who would go around locker rooms and stairwells and talk about how this guy had a bunch of butt plugs and fake dongs he would sell for $5 to $10, as well as vibes and random bondage gear for $10 to $15. They'd hand out business cards, likely made in the art room after hours. One of my gym buddies awkwardly took a card, and the guy said the dealer hung around a certain McDonald's downtown in the evenings. He told him to look for a guy with a black hoodie, aviators, and a big green army duffel. They could meet and see if he had anything he liked. A guy supposedly dropped a plug out of his backpack in the locker room, but kids and their gossip. However, the speed with which he snatched it up and jammed it back into his pack says something. The McDonald's fake dong man / McDong man was never caught. Next story. My sophomore English teacher was arrested at the end of my senior year for 26 counts of statutory against some of the girls in my class. The whole community was in shock that he would do such a thing because he was always so nice to everybody. Early in February of this year, my old principal and superintendent were both arrested and convicted of covering this whole thing up for nearly 4 years. It's kind of weird that we have this assumption that these people will act like the crimes they're committing, like you should be able to tell somehow. No, dude. People who do these things know they're doing the wrong thing and actively try to hide it. Just because someone seems nice doesn't mean they are. Next story. A father of a student drunkenly decided to drive a truck through the front doors and then shoot as many as he could. If he had walked in, he could have ended a few lives. However, when he slammed through the doors, he suffered from the crash and the door frames had wrapped around the truck doors. And recently, the basketball coach resigned because he decided to inappropriately Snapchat a minor. I don't even know why OP tried to follow the first one up. Like, oh my god, that's horrifying. That is definitely the scandal. It's some divine intervention that the doors kept him out. Next story. This happened after high school, but I think you'll find it interesting. A girl I went to high school with ended her dad. She shot him in the head with a shotgun while he slept, put his body in a plastic storage bin, and hid it in the shed. For the next few months, she lived in his house off his money and invited several friends to move in and pay rent. Said her dad moved and left her the house. She had locked the shed and told no one to go in there, but eventually someone did. Next story. During my junior year in high school many years ago, the affair between the high school principal, male, and an 11th grade English teacher, female. How did we find out? The husband showed up at school looking for our principal. Someone tipped him off and he was off campus when he got there. Next story. I recorded a teacher saying some anti-gay stuff. Sent the recording to friends. They sent it to the local media and the national news organizations picked it up. My tiny school in rural Alabama was getting death threats from all over the world. I was also being threatened. The school actually felt my life was in danger, and I had to have a teacher walk with me to my car at the end of school. Next story. Oh man, finally I can tell about my school. It's a boarding school, and like most boarding schools in the States, it's not amazing. We've had a lot of things go wrong. Some bigger, some smaller, but here goes with a few, I guess. In chronological order, the first would be when the admissions guy was screwing a 16-year-old guy at school. We all knew for months, and the school actually warned the guy like 3 times before really getting him in trouble. By trouble, I mean just making him leave. Looking back, they should have handled the situation completely differently. Another time, there was a kid who everyone knew had some severe mental challenges. Let's call him Kid A. He was pretty weird, but never rude, so everyone treated him as an equal and tried to be nice to him. Everyone besides his roommate, Kid B. One day in my English class, Kid A told us about how the night before, his roommate had made him get off, and he was really stressed out about it and scared. He didn't say too much because words were kind of tough for him sometimes when he's worked up, but the general idea was he did not like it. The higher-ups at the school found out and they just kind of swept it under the rug. Next story. It was just after I had joined. Someone had their 16th birthday party at the school, I don't know why. His mom thought it would be funny to surprise him with a gorillagram, thinking it was a man in a gorilla suit. It was not. Stripper comes in, starts doing her bit, puts a lead on the boy and covers him and her with whipped cream. This goes on for about 5 minutes before a present staff member, actually one of my teachers, puts a stop to this. It made the news and is one of only 3 articles on my school's wiki page. The other 2 are about the school burning down, twice, and kinda set up what sort of school this was. Next story. I have a few from different times. An 18 or 19-year-old guy was dating a 17-year-old girl. He was from a notoriously bad family, the kind of people that will get spun out on crank and beat someone up for walking around. They got into a feud with another girl's dad, and one day, the guy and his girlfriend chased him down, dragged him out of his car, and shot him. The nearest city's paper quoted the juvenile, saying, "Yes, we shot him, I did it." They got off completely claiming self-defense, even though they chased him down. A girl who graduated a couple of years before me was working as a teacher there. She had an affair with a student, got caught, and quit. Because no charges were filed, she applied again a couple years later and they hired her back. She'd even continued her relationship with the student for a few years. More recently, a guy I graduated with, I'm 30 for reference, became a coach. He had an affair with a 14-year-old student and got caught with her. He then left his wife and mother of his children to be with a high school student. He resigned from the school and they've left the area. Small town people are so freaking weird. Next story. A male student made a fake female Facebook, Tinder, etc. He then tricked other male students into sending dong pics or other incriminating pictures or info. Once he thought he had enough blackmail against someone, he would leverage it for intimate stuff. It still baffles me that it worked on anyone, let alone upwards of 5 people. If someone said, "Blow me or I'll show the world your dong," I hope they pick the most flattering picture I send. I don't know how much you can blame... Okay, you can blame the victims... Ooh, that sounds bad. I more so mean the kids should not have sent pictures of their junk. Simple as that. However, being coerced afterwards is not too unexpected if, blackmailing was the plan. You're not exactly thinking 100% logically in that situation. You are being threatened to have something extremely private shown to the world. And the whole reason coercion is a thing is because that kind of buckling pressure works. So it's really not the kid's fault. I don't know why OP said that. That was weird. That being said, yeah, maybe don't send intimate pictures like that to people, especially if you haven't met them. Bad decision. Next story. School board was funneling through government grants and a lot of fees and had put it aside for personal use. Roughly $10 million out of the school went straight to the board and not into upgrading the crap infrastructure and technology we had in place. The board members were all multimillionaires before this anyway. Greedy pieces of crap. Next story. A mid-30-year-old health teacher cheated on his wife with the young 25-year-old guidance counselor in our school. During class one day while we were all watching a movie, his wife stormed in, slammed papers down on the desk, and walked out without saying anything. All of us, looking on in shock, watched our teacher shake his head in disbelief, looking at what were presumably divorce papers. He then ran out of the class, and we just sat there trying to make sense of what happened for the remaining 15 minutes of class. The next day, he was gone. Am I crazy for being kind of relieved? It's just sort of like, oh good, it wasn't cheating with a minor. Nice. Don't get me wrong. Morally reprehensible. But it just seems like, in comparison with the rest of this thread, it could be worse. That feels weird to say, I guess, but it's true, I think. Anyway, that's the last story for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or a night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.